The new space race among global powers. The United States and China are at the forefront of missions aiming to return humans to the moon, with both countries inviting other nations to join in their ambitious space visions. Lunar missions have become synonymous with the space race. During the Cold War, the contest between the U.S. and the Soviet Union to achieve the first small step on the moon symbolized a strategic and symbolic battle for global dominance in political, technological, military, and ideological realms. Today, geopolitical tensions are once again turning outward from Earth. The U.S. and China are leading separate missions to return humans to the moon. These efforts aim to advance scientific research, but space resource extraction and economic expansionism are also driving factors. This new race could lead to conflicts, especially over prime landing sites and the scarce, valuable resources believed to be concentrated at the moon's south pole. Mining lunar water ice could produce oxygen, drinking water, and rocket fuel, essential resources for sustaining exploration on the moon and beyond. The moon may also contain rare earth metals used in everyday electronics, as well as helium-3, a rare non-radioactive isotope that could power nuclear energy. Space mining could trigger a moon gold rush or spark trade wars with nations and private entities venturing into space. The extraterrestrial resources are projected to be worth trillions of dollars. The U.S. has a longer history of space capabilities, investments, and partnerships, yet China is rapidly closing the gap. While the U.S. conducted its first unmanned landing at the moon's south pole this year, China has already made several landings. In June, China's Chang'e 6 mission returned with the first rock and soil samples from this highly sought-after region. Both superpowers are also extending invitations to other nations to join them in realizing their lunar visions. This week, the Dominican Republic became the 44th nation to sign on to the NASA-led Artemis Accords. Meanwhile, 13 other nations are involved in the International Lunar Research Station, ILRS, a China-led initiative in collaboration with Russia. Senegal joined just last month. Space has historically promoted cooperation even among rival superpowers during periods of geopolitical tension. In the Cold War era, the U.S. and Soviet Union collaborated on space governance, law, science, and technology, building mutual trust and easing hostilities. More recently, NASA's International Space Station, ISS, has served as a testament to coexistence in orbit. Astronauts from the U.S., Russia, and other partners have conducted over 3,000 experiments in a microgravity environment. At the recent United Nations Future Summit, messages from astronauts on both the ISS and China's Tiangong space station underscored the importance of international cooperation and the peaceful use of space. Humanity stands to lose greatly if global superpowers do not collaborate on space governance. There is a real and growing risk of exporting and intensifying Earth-based conflicts into space, a development that would undoubtedly exacerbate tensions back on Earth. The U.S. and China need to explore opportunities for dialogue between the Artemis Accords and ILRS. There are already some commonalities in the planned activities, governance principles, and guidelines of each initiative. To make this possible, the U.S. would need to reconsider the 2011 Wolf Amendment, which restricts NASA from using its budget for cooperation with China without congressional approval. However, China has no equivalent legislation and has recently shown a willingness to cooperate, including the potential sharing of lunar samples. Sharing scientific data could serve as a starting point to establish common ground before advancing discussions on space governance. This collaboration could even extend to harmonizing landing sites or lunar time zones. If a rescue mission ever became necessary on the moon, having some compatible technology through interoperability would make it much easier. Both the U.S. and China are actively participating in COPUOS, including the Working Group on Space Resources. However, treaty making is often slow. This delay highlights the need for more opportunities for communication, consistency, and certainty in space governance, supporting even multilateral efforts. The world should view space not just as a race, but as a chance to improve international relations, benefiting humanity's future on Earth and someday far beyond.